Megacast on this soggy, dreary Friday morning. It's a great morning to be at home if you have to be and watching us, or also if you're stuck in the office, you can always catch us on Facebook because we do live stream today's edition of the Megacast on our social media page. It's no secret one of my absolute favorite places, and call me a geek, to hang out is the public library.
Such a geek.
I am. Obviously, Keiko Harbor does not have our own libraries, so we're part of the West Bloomfield. And here in West Bloomfield, I remember I made my husband, because at the time of moving here, I still had an out-of-state driver's license. So I made him get a library card. First one in his life.
Oh.
I was like, what? Yeah. How have you not had a library card?
Oh, come on, Woody. What are you doing here?
Every city I move to, one of the first things you do is you go get a public library card.
Right.
And so I checked out so many things under his name. It was crazy. But it really is like one of the best places in all of our communities. And we are so lucky to have some really great libraries here. And I will say, working in the media, we were always constantly out driving in so many other cities. And so a lot of times when you had time in between assignments, we would stop in at the local public libraries. And Troy is another great city that they have some cool public libraries as well. So we want to bring in the mayor of Troy, Ethan Baker, with us here on the Megacast. You're hanging out at the library today too.
Good morning, Ronnie and Tyler. I am here at the Troy Public Library, and I got to tell you, I'm here because we haven't been a 7-day library since 2010, when we're suffering the effects of the Great Recession, and we struggled with whether or not we were going to have a library anymore. But today is the day. We've reopened on Fridays, and we are now open 7 days a week again. And so we cut a ribbon here right before the opening time at 10 o'clock this morning, and it's very, very exciting for me and for the community. And I love to hear that you're a big fan of public libraries, and the West Bloomfield Public Library is actually pretty near and dear to my heart, because our former library director, Kathy Russ, who was here for 13 and a half years as our director, is now your new director at the West Bloomfield Public Library. So if you see Kathy Russ when you're there, please say hello for me.
We will. We stole her away.
Yeah, you did, and you won. And actually, she was here this morning with me, so I was happy to see her. But she's a good one. So
she is, and she's so fun. We've had her on the show a couple of times since she has been brought on, and I will so much energy and so much excitement with her. But same things there in Troy. So really, this is such a huge day, and I feel like coming out of the pandemic, the library is needed more now than ever.
Absolutely. And, we've learned a lot. I mean, traditionally, I think a lot of people of a certain mindset thought a library was just about checking out books, right? It was just there for books. And well, if I don't need any books, then I don't need to go to the library, or maybe I don't even need a library, right? I mean, that was a big part of it. But we know in our community that it's a community gathering place. It's a place where teenagers come to study. It's a place where people at the other end of the age spectrum come for programming. Obviously, we have a huge circulation, and our books play a key role in the checking out of books. But there's a lot of other things that a library does in today's age that isn't just the traditional checking out a book like you'd assume. So we're very, very fortunate to have the support of our community to fund a millage for our library to keep it open. And this last millage from last year allowed us to reopen it 7 days and invest substantial amounts of money into the infrastructure. Because our building, where I'm sitting right now, is 50 years old. It opened in 1971, and some of it looks like it's 50 years old. So we've got to do some facelift work here.
What's old is new again.
That's right.
Retro is
very in style, right? Soon we'll call it like mid-century modern is the cool thing, right? I mean,
Exactly. But I will say too, because we do know the library, it's like you said, it's not even so much about the books, it's access to the internet, because, so many people don't have that access at home, where it's slow, and maybe their computer's just not up to speed to be able to handle what they need to do. But it's really, when you look at it, and you can check out movies. You can check out, for me, it was always the audiobooks. Checking out audiobooks and albums and CDs, and there's so much that you can do, and really it's a huge cost savings to a family to be able to utilize the services of the library.
It is. I mean, case in point, I took my teenage daughter to a bookstore. We were at Books a Million in Southfield a couple of weeks ago, and she bought three books that are she'll read once and then get rid of, and she spent $60, right?
What?
So that's how much books cost, right? So you think about you come to the library, and yes, we pay a little bit in taxes for our library to keep it open, but if you get a book, even one book every couple of months, you'll get your return very well, plus the benefits for the community. But yeah, I mean, it really is an inexpensive way. And my 9-year-old daughter, I brought her here with me this morning, and I said, "Oh, you can get some books," and she said, "Oh, I don't have any money." And I said, "No, Avon, you forgot. Like, this is the library. We get to use these services as part of the taxes we pay in our community, and like, you don't have to buy the books. You borrow them, and it's a great thing." And so many people, I think, of especially kids who have gone through, they've lived their life through COVID the past year and a half. My daughter, yes, she's 9, but she's, her memories from before COVID are getting smaller and smaller, right? So she doesn't remember what the library is as much as some of us adults do. So we got to reintroduce the kids back into the library and keep it the strong part of our community.
Well, and this is a good time as well because we do know that we're in the summer months. And even
Yeah.
outside of COVID, we would typically have what they call that learning loss period over the summer. And we know that's happening
Yeah.
even more so in COVID. So, how is it working there at the library regarding hours and allowing people into the building?
Yeah, so we are at phase 4 of our reopening, which is pretty much like coming to the regular library, except we don't have some of our in-person programming yet. Our study areas aren't quite open yet, which actually works out pretty well for summer. But you can be in the library, you can browse books. We're still doing some virtual programs. Right now, we're staffed, I think, at around 56 hours a week, which we'll get up to 65 here as soon as we can hire people. As you know, it's hard. People are having a hard time hiring employees on every sector. Our library is not also wanting in that respect. So once we can get our hiring up a little bit more, we'll be open about 65 hours a week, which will be 7 days a week. It's a Friday morning right now. I'm thrilled to see people walking behind me. We haven't had anybody in here on a Friday in 11 years. So we'll be something for everybody. And, the hours vary. I can't sit here and say, it's these hours from this start time to this finish time every day yet. But they try to staff and have the library open for what traditionally are the busier times.
And we should point out, I mean, that's even happening locally at our Starbucks. Every time I go
Right.
through, it's a day by day situation where it's like, we're open today, we're not open today. And we should encourage
Yeah.
anyone out there, even if you have 4 hours to spare
Yeah.
or 8 hours, 2 4-hour shifts, go work at the library. And it really is a community service for so many
Yeah.
people as well. And two, I wonder too, if you work at the library, you can kind of get first dibs on some of the books.
I would think so, right? I can't say that for sure, and I don't want to get in trouble with anything, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're here, and the grand majority of our employees at the Troy Public Library are part-time employees. So you're absolutely right, whether they work 8 hours a week or, a little bit more. But that's how we staff our library, and it allows. It's a great system for a lot of reasons because it gets a lot of people to come in here, and they don't have to do the full-time workload. But it seems to work. But yeah, we're always looking for people to work in our library. We're also looking for people to work in our aquatic center. So if you have any interest in that, that's always something we can do. Although today doesn't seem like a very good aquatic center day with the rain, but keep that in mind too.
It's a
Not
good
bad
day for
place
all
to
the
work, too.
fish. They're already wet.
Exactly.
Hey, and I will say a little secret to everyone too. When you go to the library, and the popular books that are on the top 20 list, when they're always checked out, if you go to the large print section, usually they're still in there.
Right.
Just a little secret.
All the secrets.
And plus, once you're
that
over
is
40, you need large print.
That is an absolute library nerd tip that you just gave, Ronnie. You really just outed yourself twice. I mean, that was pretty special. I appreciate it, but it's very, very true. And I will also say, as a reminder, like you said, it's not just about checking out books here. We've got a full online arsenal of materials that you can download to your Kindle or any other device. Audiobooks, the movies, the television shows, a ton of streaming content. And as you know, you should know, the Troy Public Library is affiliated with several other, like a consortium of libraries in the area. So we all share. If you're a member in West Bloomfield, you have rights to use the Troy Public Library materials as well. You just have to log in and acknowledge all that stuff. But yeah, it's a we really do have a great library here, and our Metro Detroit community is full of good libraries. But come to Troy for sure.
What an exciting day for the city of Troy. But I will say, looking behind you, it's busy. It really is busy. So
it is nice. I know I'm strangely distracted and excited to see people walking behind me. So it's a wonderful thing. And our community, they were ready for this, and they supported it with the millage last fall. And I'm glad they're proving that their vote was the right one by showing up today.
And this is a perfect example of what your tax dollars mean. And this is your tax dollars at work and how it can benefit you. So take advantage of it.
Right.
Save your family some money and support local as well. And Mayor, while we have you on, of course, we have to talk about the I-75 tanker crash. And that video was just crazy that the Troy Police Department posted, and it was the scene from another tanker truck watching the other tanker truck crash. It is a miracle that that no one was really seriously hurt in that accident.
It was a miracle, and that the week started on that low, and here we are with the high of the library. But you have a tanker truck, and you do see the video. You see basically the truck swerve across the lanes of traffic, doesn't hit anybody else, but does slam into that new center divider and explode with 14,000 gallons of fuel, both diesel and regular gasoline on there. And the driver is fine, had some minor injuries, and nobody else was hurt. I can't say the same for our brand new I-75 freeway, which, we just celebrated reopening finally. Here we are now. We're down to one lane in each direction at least, and it'll be a while before it gets rebuilt because it needs to be rebuilt. I mean, I posted some pictures on my social media that just show, when fires burn that hot, they melt concrete, right? Everything structurally was destroyed in a sense. So they'll be out there rebuilding all of those. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a special, again, thanks to our police department and our fire department, who were the first responders that were out there. Our firefighters put out that fire over several hours, and anyone in the region could see that huge plume of black smoke and everything that was going on. It was a big deal. And the city really came together with the police, help directing traffic, of course, and then our Department of Public Works out there shoveling, and they throw a lot of sand and stuff over fires like that to help clean up. And it's just been an all hands on deck effort, and I really want to commend everybody on our city staff for doing so.
Yeah, they were pretty amazing. And I thought I heard something, but I didn't know this before. Are your firefighters volunteer?
They are. So
what?
That's the amazing thing. We have a staff of 10 who are paid city employees, but 165 volunteer firefighters do the work of our city. And it's a system that's been in place for decades, and we've always had it. And I really do believe we're the best volunteer firefighter department in the country. People come to us all the time and say, how do you do it? And the reality is you can't start a new fire department like that anymore. Ours is so successful because it's organically grown like this over the years. But just because they're volunteers doesn't mean we sacrifice anything for safety. Our ISO safety rating is just as high as a paid department. We are top of the line of equipment, and we have a great team of men and women who go out there and risk their lives and keep us safe. And really it is, when you add that they're a volunteer firefighter department who are standing there putting out a tanker fire that was ignited by 14,000 gallons of fuel on a major interstate, you really think, wow, they are committed and dedicated. So we celebrate them in every possible way.
Most definitely. And we do know that a lot of the volunteer firefighters, they have regular jobs. So when they get that
Right.
call, or they get, well, I want to say page, but we don't really page any longer. But when they
They're
get that
actually,
call.
they do page.
Oh, they do
still
page?
do get-
Wow.
They have pagers. Yeah, they're a little different pagers than it was in, the 90s and 80s. But they have a pager radio system.
So
is
with
kinda funny.
but they go through training, and they spend so much
Yeah.
of their own time going through that training, and then dropping everything, in a moment's notice to be able to respond to a situation like that. So it's like you said, a huge shout out to all of them. But I have to wonder. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, really, you couldn't do it on a stretch of the freeway that hasn't been redone? But you also wonder, because it's been a nightmare navigating 75 in that stretch because of all the construction. And then this happens. What type of impact do you think that's going to have on some of your businesses?
It's interesting. I thought a lot about it. Obviously, anytime you shut down the major interstate or reduce traffic, there's going to be an effect. But I think the bigger difficulty for our businesses in Troy and our residents, frankly, was the closures on Big Beaver and that restriction. That because that's still fully open, all the businesses still have access, and people. The other good part of it is because we've been under construction for 3 years at this point. People are pretty familiar with the workarounds, so they might just slip right back into how they dealt with that. And the repairs won't take nearly as long as it took to redo the whole project. But yeah, it's going to have some effect. Some people will say, you know what, I don't want to deal with it right now, and we'll just have to welcome them back with open arms in several weeks when it's reopened and back to normal again.
Yeah, it is true because it's like you said, everyone knows to avoid 75. Plus, like what, last weekend or prior 2 weekends ago, my days are all mixed up, but the whole stretch of 75 was shut down for the demolition of the bridge from,
Yeah.
8 Mile up to Square Lake. So it's nothing new to have to navigate that entire stretch of roadway. Again, we're talking
Right.
with Ethan Baker. He's the mayor for the city of Troy. And Mayor, just another minute or two so we can let you get back to enjoying the library and the festivities there. Anything else going on in the city that you want to share with us?
Oh, let's see. Well, there's always something going on. What do I want to highlight in a minute? I mean, we're open here in Troy, right? I mean, our restaurants, our businesses, our shopping. Ronnie, I know you love Somerset. It's been open for quite a while, but we've worked really hard to keep our community supporting our businesses and restaurants, so they're here to welcome back the greater community into our city, and we're ready for you. Come on in. Don't be afraid of the construction and stuff. We still can serve you, and we're doing well. We've got our farmers market. It's, although in the rain right now, not always the best, but we do Fridays 12 to 5 at the City of Troy Community Center North parking lot. We have a great farmers market and great vendors and people who work there. So lots of reasons to come to Troy on a nice sunny day. Come check out our aquatic center as always. We're humming along and looking forward to having people come back into the office building slowly and safely. But we do expect to see that increase. Probably closer to September, I would expect there'll be a bigger influx of people coming back to work in our actual office buildings. And I know that's going to be great for the small businesses that have depended on those office employees to eat their lunches and to use their dry cleaners and such in our area. So that's about it.
Well, it's again, you're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. And Mayor, we always appreciate your time. And it's been great talking to you, and great to see the library back open.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to see you. And you're back in studio. And also nice to know you're having a Megacast still. Because I know there was some question about whether or not the Megacast would continue. I'm happy to see it continuing, and both of you sitting across from each other.
We are. We built a new studio, so there is a distance, but but we're back here. But I will say, days like today, I'm like, I really wish I was still back at home in my pajamas.
Yeah, understandable. I got you, but we gotta get back to normal a little bit, Ronnie. We gotta do it.
I know.
Plus, you gotta keep those clothes and buying those clothes at all of our good shops in Somerset, and so we gotta keep you coming into the office.
I will tell you, I was ranting because I went to Apple. I have to get new Apple devices. There is a line. There's a waiting line to get into the Apple store. So they have not suffered through this pandemic.
No, they're doing just fine. I was there the other day myself, so I feel your pain.
Well, Mayor, it's always great talking to you, and happy summer to you and your family as well.
Thank you very much. Good to see you both.
We're going to take a break here on the Megacast, and when we come back, talking about the roadways, we are going to be talking. Oh wait, no, that's coming up at 11:40, right?
That's 11:20.
No, 11:20. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some of our most dangerous roadway in the intersections. What are they, and why are they like that? That's coming up next here on the Megacast.
Here's one